As entrepreneurs, we all have a reason why we chose to leave our 9 to 5 for an 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. I'm here to capture these stories of why we all hustle and grind for our companies. Jim Goetz is a certified strength and conditioning specialist and an expert on human performance optimization utilizing biohacking. With extensive experience coaching athletes across various sports including NFL, MLB, Olympic athletes, and more, Jim's approach emphasizes living as a champion in all aspects of life. He has published numerous articles on topics from ADHD to nutrition, and he challenges conventional theories with rigorous research. As the creator of the Keto Project movie, the author of the bestseller 600 Burgers in 30 Days, and creator of Fitcoin, Jim continues to innovate in health and performance. Jim believes extraordinary achievements come from consistently excelling in everyday tasks, and he strives to elevate human performance through cutting-edge research and focused care. Well, Dr. Jim, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I really appreciate you being here.
I appreciate being here, Andrew. Thank you for having me.
So you're in a space that really resonates with me. This is something that I love doing, and that's sort of the optimizing yourself, optimizing your body physically and mentally. And so I know everyone can kind of heard in the intro, what you do, and they hear the bio, but go into a little bit about what you do and why you got there.
Sure. What I do now compared to how I got here is like two totally separate things. What I do now is the stuff that nobody really wants to do, the marketing, the putting up, I shouldn't say putting up, but it's putting up with people not adhering to what they say that they're going to do. Mm-hmm. And I'm a very firm believer in I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do for you. You tell me what you're going to do in return. We do those things and we're great. We have a long-term relationship doing that. If something changes, be upfront with me and I'll be upfront with you. And again, you can really do no wrong when it comes to that. And a lot of growth-minded things, seeing the entire world changing, seeing where the health industry is going, especially when Dr. Google is now artificially inflated. And people who think that they can do it all on their own without actually realizing I never went to school for that. I never opened a book for that. A does not always equal C. I mean, there's so many variables that go in. But how I got there really was more of a hands-on approach. Best way to, I don't know if I'm going back too far. When I was an undergrad, I went down to Tampa to get an excellent degree in communications. I told my dad. Reality, the baseball coach told me, you can help us defend our national championship by starting as a freshman, where Arizona State said you'll be a junior before you have a chance to start. So I went down to play baseball.
I love it.
Meaning I picked the wrong major. I thought communication was great. I wanted to get into the broadcast booth because that's what professional athletes are supposed to do when you're done your career. So let me actually go to school to learn how to do that. And I just kept butting heads with the couple instructors. These are the types that when you're in school that everybody butts heads. Their egos are so inflated that no student can do right. You're a piece of crap until you finally get to my level. I didn't get that yet as an 18-year-old. I finally got that when I went to chiropractic school. You actually have to earn the respect. But what actually happened was I was just so miserable. We're sitting around the dorm one day, my roommate, my girlfriend at the time, who is now my wife, and doing the usual between baseball, playing NFL Blitz, and having some fun. And I said, I need to change majors. I don't know what to do. And she said, well, you like working out? And I'm like, yeah, I do that for baseball. I want to hit the ball farther. I want to be a better ball player. She's like, right, but there's degrees in working out. I'm like, stop. I thought that she was like screwing with me. So she turns that around and says, quite bluntly, and I will always remember the words, no, you idiot. It's called exercise science. It's a real thing. So I turned off the game right then and there and went over to the registrar's office and found out, lo and behold, she was telling me the truth. It is a real thing. So changed majors at the time, got into exercise science. Being an athlete, I didn't want to be a personal trainer. I didn't want to be a gym teacher. I wanted to work with other professionals and mostly to learn how to be the best professional I could be because I was still playing at the time. And then I figured when I was done, I can replicate and make other guys even better. And the idea of human performance was fascinating to me. I'd always watched people walk. I was looking at their gait before I even knew what the definition of gait was or that it was a real word. I saw people's imbalances, like, his elbow's always hurting and he's throwing like that. What if he moved his elbow in that way? And it just came to me naturally. And I remember I'd had a debate with the head of the department one time on getting in shape. The example in class was, how do you get in shape if you want to play racquetball? Well, by this time, I'd talked my way into doing a internship with a guy named Rafael Ruiz, who I still consider this day the smartest human being that's ever been born. He wowed me because if you pick a professional athlete down in Tampa Bay area, they go to him, and they go to him for a reason. I mean, his first client ever was a guy named Deion Sanders. So I mean, that's what he's starting with. So you get, Derek Jeter walking through, you get all these other guys coming through, and I want to work with this guy. He wouldn't hire anyone that didn't have a master's degree. So 3-4 times a day, I went in, hey, Raph, what's going on? I'm still here. Hey, can I get an internship? Can I get an internship? And I just bugged the crap out of him until he finally said, 4:45 tomorrow morning, we work out, be here. And that's where he treated me like crap. But the education was amazing. And I realized that to get in shape for racquetball, you need to play racquetball and do racquetball activities. Well, the head of the department said, no, you start with an elliptical, then you start running. I'm like, no. So we got into it, and but it really got my mind going. And so I played baseball, went as far as I could, no excuses. I realized it was my own biomechanics of my own elbow, which I later learned from the head trainer at the Toronto Blue Jays, who showed me just a little difference in that elbow positioning. And all of a sudden, I don't need Tommy John surgery anymore, to which I still need to this day. But then I got into coaching as a strength and conditioning coach at the professional level, and I just needed more. I won't mention names, but I remember one rookie coming in, certain second baseman for the Blue Jays that later played for the Mets. Again, not naming names, but people can look that one up. First words, everyone else is, my name is so-and-so, nice to meet you. Just everybody's being normal, just getting to know each other in spring training. This guy, what's up, punk? I'm like, dude, we're like the same age. What do you mean, what's up, punk? But I'm your coach at this point, so punk, what's up?
Oh man.
But I'm just realizing I needed more. I kind of got off the beaten path a little bit because I knew that I was kind of miserable at doing that. I appreciate the organization giving me a chance in baseball, but it just wasn't right for me. It wasn't the right fit. So I moved on and then started working with some of the guys independently, and then really needed something more. So I was a little injured, just one of those little, they call it tweaks in the neck. Pinched nerve is it's called amongst most people. And the girl that I knew referred me over to a guy named Dr. Shaker. Now, I walked into Dr. Shaker's office. She says, go right in. I told him he'll come on over. I guess they had the special, I got a guy. You can get in right now, so he can see me before lunch. I meet the guy, and I walk into the office and pick a professional athlete, from professional wrestling to the top stars in baseball to Tim Tebow's right there on the wall. I mean, so I've noticed this guy sees everybody too. Lo and behold, not through adjusting my neck, but through different techniques, the pinched nerve went away. I mean, that never goes away like that real quick. So I'm ready to pay the bill. And he says, no, you do anything right now? And I said, not really. He said, come to my office. So just like I'm in the principal's office. We just started shooting the breeze. And he said, listen, I can tell you're miserable. I know what you're doing. And have you ever thought about being a doctor of chiropractic? I'm like, no, never. Because according to my dad, chiropractors are quacks. You got to go to them forever. I mean, every stereotype going was just thrown at me every day. So he actually explained what he does and tells me stories about how he got a guy, an all-pro, out on the field in order to win a Super Bowl. Otherwise, every other doctor, the orthopedists, were telling him, you're out for the season. We got to do surgery. And well, when a man works all of his life painstakingly and tirelessly to become the best at what he does in the entire world, and you have a chance right now, this year it's been built, and you're part of it, to go to the Super Bowl, and you got to tell him no. As the doctor, you owe it to him to get him out on that field, patch him up, and just get him as close to his performance as possible. And he did that all season. And it was just mind-blowing to me. And it was fascinating. So I started enrolling in some other type of health courses, just independent study, because I guess I turned from jock to nerd at that time. And
Or a nerdly
um,
jock. I mean,
exactly. I guess I was always a nerd deep down. Um, and so I started doing some research, and then out of the blue, living down in Florida, out of the blue, I get, after too much procrastination, I get a application and a brochure from the University of Bridgeport College of Chiropractic. I did not send for information. I did not call any schools, nothing. Out of the blue, it's almost like the gods said, dude, stop procrastinating.
uh-huh.
Go
Yeah.
here. They're going to align with you the most. And then once I got that, then I actually started checking out schools and I realized, yeah, their philosophies do align the most.
Hmm.
It's not just the holistic, the spirit will heal you from within by just adjusting your upper cervical. It's truly a medical approach. So let's find out what's wrong with you. Let's trace it to the source and let's fix that. An adjustment may do it, it may not. I mean,
Hmm.
most of the work that we do is soft tissue with movement.
Hmm.
That really works and holds the adjustments far better. So I applied, I went up for an interview, I got a tour of the school, and fortunately, the board was actually meeting for new candidates that afternoon. Which, hey,
Hmm.
no pressure. You just met us. We're going to vote on you right now. So leave, and maybe we'll give you a call if you're special enough.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So sure enough, I was fortunate. I was special enough, and they said we'd like to have you here. And so I opened up a fire hydrant,
Uh-huh.
and everything that came out, all that water is called knowledge. It's
Yeah.
pretty much swallow this all. Don't let a drop spill.
Yeah.
I was challenged like I'd never before academically.
Hmm.
I learned how to study for the first time in my life.
Hmm.
My first two tests, I am too embarrassed. They're so low to show those numbers.
Hmm.
Definitely below 50.
Uh-huh.
And I realized real quick, listen, at this point I have a family too.
Hmm.
I can, and there's nothing wrong with going to work in retail for the rest of your life, delivering packages, working construction. There's nothing wrong with that. It's very admirable.
Hmm.
There's just something about it that didn't resonate with me, and I knew I'd be very unhappy.
Yeah.
So I said to I'm living up in Connecticut now full time. I moved my
Hmm.
family up to Jersey by this point so we could be closer. My family was already there, my parents, my sister.
Hmm.
So had just a daughter at that time, but still having family around to help my wife while she now has to help work
Yeah.
really helps out a lot.
Yeah.
So we did that, and I'm figuring, okay, I don't see them 5 days a week. When I'm home, I'm a zombie because I'm so
Hmm.
tired.
Hmm.
So I can't let them down. You better figure this out. So I spent some many days contemplating out on the Long Island Sound, freezing, wind blowing off of it. Um, Obviously, it was humid out, so there's a lot of water coming down from my eyes, feeling like a total loser and letdown.
Yep.
And then that turned into confidence and determination, and I started finding my way into the cadaver lab at all hours
Hmm.
to study. And I will tell you, there are noises that happen.
Hmm. Hmm. I can imagine.
10 o'clock at night, you've got 6 dead bodies around you. Somehow they know how to set up. I don't know what's up with that, but you just ignore it the best as possible and say, guys, I'm in here for some research. If you can help me out.
Yeah. It's all cool. I'm not gonna, you do you. Yeah.
From there, my wife ended up going and becoming a psychologist, sports psychology. Later on, went to get a PhD in applied psychophysiology.
Hmm.
And one of my roommates at the time ended up coming into business. He moved from York, Pennsylvania to New Jersey
Hmm.
to do his thing. He became a hippie from the backwoods to a well-oiled GQ-looking dude.
Nice, nice.
And yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot of trials and tribulations, especially as you get going.
Hmm.
And now through a different period of adaptation, there's a lot going on, moving a lot into the crypto atmosphere
Hmm.
when it comes to fitness because people just don't want to go into the offices anymore. The people don't want to go into gyms anymore, and doing more distance. So that is a huge learning curve because now there's software engineering that comes into play, and there's dealing with third world countries and programmers that if they screw you over,
Yeah.
they screw you over. There's
Yeah.
no repercussions. So are they the right fit for you? And it's a
Hmm.
lot going on now. I'd say
Yeah.
just in the difference in the changes.
Exactly. And so I want to go back to a little bit because I think a lot of people have a similar mindset to you as far as chiropractic is concerned. And it wasn't until my journey where I did keto a number of years ago and started to really look into health.
Mhm.
And chiropractic resonated with me as well because it's more of an alternative. you guys get the same training as doctors do. I mean, it's not like this is, I just learn all of the bones and that's it. There's a lot
What
more.
you just said as the caveat, we get all the training like doctors do. And that's the disconnect we have from the general public. The
Yeah.
degree says doctor of chiropractic,
Yes.
doctor of osteopathy, medical doctor. It's just the type of doctor that one is. It's really just a degree that's awarded to somebody for completing a crap ton of insane information all at once.
Exactly. And I think that's something that people don't realize, where they think there's this concept that it's something out there woo-woo. It really is not. It's a really serious degree with a lot of things you have to go through and a lot of hoops you have to jump through, and additional training that our standard MDs don't get.
Right.
And I think that's something that's really important to learn about chiropractic. I had, knowing a few chiropractors and really doing research into what you guys do, I have a massive respect for what you do, because it is different. And it really looks like with you going into biohacking, I think it's incredibly complementary to biohacking as well, because you get that holistic side of things. Do you want to go into a little bit about that? Like, what sort of, when you say biohacking, that's a really big term. It covers a lot of different things. And I want to hear what your version of biohacking is. Let's go into that for a second.
Sure. I try to really condense the most literal version. I mean, I trademarked the name, the biohacking Mecca, simply because it's a cool name. It's a cool term. It's trends. I mean, when the word hack, I've got my 9-year-old son was using the word hack just because it seemed really cool. Hey, man, let me hack this video game. How are you going to do that?
Yep.
I mean, hacks are just taking old wives' tales to your laundry. It's just a way of doing something in a non-standard way. However, biohacking, I mean, bio really means it's in the cells. So what we are doing is we are influencing the cell in one way or another. And that's kind of all-inclusive, all the cells of the body. If you are breathing you outside and it's smoggy out, technically you're biohacking your body. Whatever you eat, whatever you drink, anything, you're influencing your cell in one way or another. So technically, you are biohacking the body. It could be in a positive way for your body, a negative way for the body. Take the Buddhist approach that no matter positive or negative, it just is. You are changing something in the body. Now, the cool thing that people like thinking about biohacking is, how can I hack it and improve a function? How can I live longer? How can I lift heavier? How can I throw faster? How can I run faster? How can I be smarter? How can I be more polite to people? I mean, whatever it may be, we're trying to influence our bodies to achieve some type of goal. So that's where we take a deeper and more holistic approach on truly getting to know the individual. It's very personalized. You can't do an all-encompassing listening to a biohacking guru on a podcast. It drives me nuts. I get 50 people coming in. I get the question of the morning for you. I'm like, if it has to do with that dude, don't ask. Because he's talking about like 50 million people at once. And I'm looking at you. And not only do I know you, I know your goals. I know your body's habits. I know everything about you internally, because we've pulled liquids out of every orifice that I don't want to see and know about. So I truly know your biology. And what he's saying is not right for you. It's like the movie that we have, that will be coming out this fall. The book that I just wrote, 600 Burgers in 30 Days, is all about the movie and the idea of that. The idea of keto or paleo takes over. People buy the books. They absolutely love it because it's the new fad. It's a trend. They are biohacking by eating all meat. Well, if I eat all meat, I thrive. I do wonderful. I'm sharper. I actually can run longer distances. I do better on very low carb, zero sugar. My body flourishes on meat. Well, Dr. Mike, who decided to be our test subject, dude almost died on my couch. I mean, his testosterone level was a 7, not a 700. It plummeted to a 7. And he appears to be a very healthy, shredded athlete. And he almost died by eating all beef. So it really, truly comes down to that of the individual. So by saying this biohack is awesome, well, is awesome for you. And that's what I keep running into resistance, because it's sexy, it's cool. Fear of missing out. I got to try this new pill, the potion, the powder, whatever it may be, and try that, because it's obviously got to work for me.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to touch on it is biohacking and all of these different things. Keto is a huge thing and has been for years. There's a lot of different, and I've noticed this just through my health journey of there are some things like if I have any sort of bread that isn't organic, I am done. It's just brain fog sets in, I am finished. But understanding kind of what your body does, it's not that one size fits all. It's not that one cool thing we do now. It's not, testosterone shots. It's not these things. It's a holistic view. And that's why I wanted you to touch on that a little bit more, is just to give a little bit more informed
Oh, of
informed
course.
opinion on or informed counsel on exactly what that looks like and what that looks like for each person. So do you do like a whole panel of like tests on people and say, okay, great, here's your stuff. What does that look
Mhm.
like engaging with you guys?
We first need to know why you're coming in. I mean, you may want to come in because you want to climb Mount Everest. Somebody else may come in because they want to look good in a dress and they've got 20 pounds to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes, what I find is people come in and they say they just want to be healthy. Now, that is a 99.999% of the time answer that you're going to fail
Mm-hmm.
every single time, because what in the world gets you up in the morning with a passion to succeed if you just want to be healthy, where the definition of healthy is the absence of disease. So therefore, you haven't been diagnosed with something. So just don't go to the doctor ever. Congratulations, you're healthy, and
Yep.
you don't have to change a
Yeah.
thing.
Yep. Yep.
So we need to find that actual drive. What's behind it? What's the actual real goal? Then
Mm.
we're going to ask a myriad of questions. Obviously, regular doctor stuff, family history, your own personal medical history. What are you taking right now? Why are you taking those things? And it gets extensive like that.
Mm-hmm.
We'll put somebody on a laser scanner, 400 lasers head to toe, just a lot of different health metrics, balance, posture. And then based on that, your goals, what we may also see is certain symptoms, because what often happens, someone says they want to lose weight. It doesn't matter what the number is. Uh, Half the time, maybe a little bit more, we find an underlying health condition. Somebody
Mm.
may have an autoimmune disease that they didn't know about, but they're starting to get to the age that these little symptoms are starting to appear.
Mm-hmm.
It just happened with a file that I was going over the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody may have kidney failure that's starting to happen. I mean, whatever it may be. So then we start looking at that as, let's look at that and let's
Mm-hmm.
fix that. And by fixing that, everything else kind of falls into place.
Yeah.
The labs that we order may not be the same for everybody.
Uh-huh.
A lot of them may be similar. Everyone loves the food sensitivity labs. They want to know every food that creates a IgG, immunological reaction. So are you eating a piece of chicken and rice and thinking that you're so-called eating clean,
Yeah.
when your body sees that as a bacteria or virus entering your system, creating widespread inflammation,
Yeah.
thus causing leakage and your cells to underperform. And but they're saying all day long, oh, that stuff is great for you, but no, it's not great for you.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times when it comes to like the food sensitivities, people will they'll also offer excuses of, you know what, I want to spend all this money on it. I want to do everything you say, but I have to eat tomatoes and olives no matter what. It's like, those two things are killing you. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
So where's the goal really? And it comes down to when somebody's health is the motivation and just living a lifestyle. It's far easier for us to sit back and do nothing
Mm-hmm.
than to do, as we were talking in the pre-show here, David Goggins saying, if you say you're going to get up at 4:30 in the morning to go run,
Mm-hmm.
get the blank up at 4:30 in the morning and go run. It is going to suck.
Yes.
Just do it though.
Embrace the suck,
Yeah,
just do it.
embrace the suck.
That was one of the big things I took away from David Goggins. I tell people I have a personal connection with him because I literally grew up in the same area that he did till he was 6. So
Right.
that helped me out with a personal connection with him. But I learned a lot from it, and that's the one thing I say it regularly: embrace the suck, because sometimes it's the good stuff is on the other side of that suck. And we're understanding,
Yes.
just go do. Yes, I love olives. I personally love olives. I don't like tomatoes, but we'll go with olives. One of my favorite foods. If I had to give them up, it would suck. But also realizing, like you're saying, that this might be having a negative effect on my system. I had a friend of mine who did a food intolerance panel, 800 foods it tested for,
Mhm.
and including glutens and everything else. He thought he was gluten intolerant, and no, he isn't. Tested 10
That,
types of gluten, wasn't
that piece
it?
of bread, dude, it's good.
But what it was dairy. It
Okay.
was funny. We were out to lunch one day. I was working with him. We were putting together a business plan for a business a business that we're involved in, and he had a steak for lunch. And he told them, don't put butter on that steak, because he knew dairy was one of his kryptonite, right?
Mhm.
They did. And he ate it and he was like, all right, fine. I'm not going to put it back again. We don't have the time. I'm just going to do it. And for the rest of the day, the brain fog kicked in. He was
Oh,
done. I mean,
geez.
it was really hard because he had a very strong reaction to dairy. You don't think about stuff like that. And so that's what I wanted to ask about it with biohacking is sometimes it's just our body is like, like you said, I'm eating my plain chicken and rice thinking it's great. And your body's like, nope,
Yep.
this is not cool with me.
It's amazing also when I look at like a micronutrient panel. I eat vegetables like as a treat. Like as many people have ice cream like once a week as a treat. To
Yeah.
me, throwing a vegetable on something is like when you go to a Chinese restaurant, for some reason they give you that like one piece of broccoli, like it's a big deal.
Yep.
To me, it's a big deal. But if you look at all my panels, all the minerals and vitamins, I am doing excellent. I'm more on the upper end of the healthy spectrum across the board.
Mm-hmm.
But if I know, because I've done it in the past, I've tried to go on all vegetables,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be nutrient deficient.
Yeah. Hmm.
It's just based upon the person.
Yeah. I tried vegetarian for a while and did not do well with it. It was about 2 years and it just didn't vibe with my body. I did it, for a lot of different reasons, but it's just like, sometimes it doesn't work.
No, no. I know a lot of guys that have done it because they start dating a new girl and
Yeah.
she's yogi and vegetarian, so the guys do it. They
Mhm.
lose all their abs if they had them in the first place, and they're like, you know what?
This is
I
more.
really like you, but
Yep. Yep. Well, I changed to the point where it's also now I get grass-fed beef, humanly raised chicken. I have like one chicken guy and I grilled him one day, like
Oh,
about every single thing about like not, chickens. The big thing they have right now is, chicken on a vegetarian diet. Chickens aren't vegetarians, they're omnivores.
right.
And there's a big difference between vegetarian fed chicken and omnivorous chicken.
Huge.
They call it biologically accurate raw food and they should have it. So anyway, grilled him on it. He answered all the questions correctly and then some. So but I noticed the difference when I eat his chicken. But that's one of the things I think for me, part of it was I didn't like the way that animals were being treated in the meat industry. And so therefore I changed my mindset to I am going to buy humanely raised animals because if I'm going to eat them, I should have And I saw a huge increase also in my health as well once I made that change. But I
Oh,
think a lot of people
absolutely
do it
did.
for that reason where it's like they don't want to hurt an animal. Well, if you get the cheap chicken, yes, they're not raised well. Get something better. Yeah, yeah.
It's always
So I
the
think,
investment. Are you willing to
yeah.
invest? Because I know it's like $1 or two more depending on what you get. I mean,
Hmm.
spend $2 more on the eggs just becomes their free range
Hmm.
eggs. I mean, and you notice when you crack it, it is a golden
Yes.
yellow is the yolk.
Yeah.
But I look at that as an investment. People
Yep.
oftentimes don't look at spending a couple dollars extra on their food as the investment in themselves,
Yeah.
but they've got no problems in spending $60 on a bottle of alcohol for the weekend.
Yep. Or hundreds of dollars a month on supplements that they wouldn't need if they just ate higher quality food. And I
Yep.
noticed that too. I was full faster. I didn't need as much of that high quality food. It's quality versus quantity. And that's at least what I found. I don't know if your patients have found that as well, but
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Because our bodies, we need so many vitamins and minerals every single day.
Mhm.
And we're not getting it from the sub-quality food. So now the brain
Mhm.
is still saying, hey, I still need this vitamin. Hey, I still need this mineral. Bring me more food. Maybe we'll get lucky here. As
Mhm.
opposed to, I just got it all at once. Yep, I'm good. Let's do something else now.
Exactly. So I do have a question. I know that one of the papers, or something that you've published as well, was on ADHD,
Oh,
which we were talking a little bit before the show got started about. I'm a huge advocate for ADHD. I think that a lot of times we're told that it's bad, it needs to be medicated, all of these different things. We get a really negative narrative on ADHD, and it's always the kids that's running around screaming his head off, going in 7,000 directions. That's the image that we have. But every single entrepreneur I know, just about every one of them, and some very successful people who have exited companies for billions, we're all ADHD. That's
yep.
our superpower. And so, but I think nutrition, and I want you to talk a little bit about nutrition in ADHD too, because there are also some negative aspects to ADHD. And how would you change that through like nutrition?
Sure. So we've worked with a lot of individuals with ADHD, and I actually wrote that paper. It started off as I guess end of semester final paper in school that I
Mhm.
decided, you know what? Let me go over this a few more times. And after 9 sets of revisions, I submitted it to the American Chiropractor, and they published it. So it's my very first published article.
Congratulations.
And thank you. I've called it the red shiny ball syndrome, and I was drawn to it because I noticed myself suffering from it a lot.
Hmm.
I knew I had to study for this, but that show was on.
Hmm.
Archer is great, but I really should get in my radiology and know what the blank I'm looking at.
Yep.
We can
Yep.
do Archer later, and it was just driving me nuts, and so I was really struggling with it, and tried the medication route,
Mhm.
which everybody, I will admit, did during finals weeks.
Yep. Yep.
So through the struggles, I realized myself, it really comes down to mindfulness. If
Mm,
I'm mindful that it's going on, now I can now change the focus of where I'm at and be more mindful on what I need to be. So it's almost like take a step out of the batter's box, deep breath, get back in, see pitch, hit ball.
mhm.
But then I did also continue with my research, and as you're talking about food and quality of food. So by getting the proper neurotransmitters, nutrients to give you those, I found a positive um, outcome for myself.
Mm.
When sugar runs, sugar is just like an instant, hey, you're going to start having uncontrollable episodes of ADHD. You're going to be non-productive. And we see it in society. You've got them, it's like you don't have much of an in the middle. You've got individuals that suffer greatly in life.
Mhm.
Um, Oftentimes, people who end up losing everything
Mhm.
have ADHD.
Mhm.
And it's because they can't focus on what they need to focus on in
Yeah.
order to get what's necessary accomplished. On the
Mhm.
other hand, some of the most successful people who have been able to learn on how to manage their ADHD
Yeah.
can hyperfocus.
Mhm.
Young children, we will do food sensitivity lab testing for ADHD.
Hmm.
I will use my own daughter as an example here. She was really struggling at a young age.
Mhm.
She's actually 9 now,
Mhm.
but really noticing 5, 6, 7. Oh my gosh, is she going to be okay? Like
Yeah.
the other two, I can just say, you guys are good to go right now. You're definitely not of age, but here's some money. Go get an apartment. You guys are going to figure it out. Her, I need to really watch 24/7.
Yeah.
We did the testing on her and found a few basic things, tuna, beef, olives. I know there's a few other little things along the list there. We just removed them from her diet
Mhm.
and incorporated all the other nutrients for her. It was about 2 weeks later, we started noticing the difference. She
Mhm.
didn't have the outbursts. She was more sociable. She wasn't as confused. And she was definitely more focused and determined on what she wanted to do.
Yeah.
And kind of equate it last night. Um, I'm bringing my oldest daughter through the Terminator series. So we decided to do 1984 Terminator 1. She's going to
Love
be a
it.
senior in high school. So now is the time to really bond the last moments that we can.
Uh-huh.
And so we had dinner and watched Terminator 1, and it hit me. The Terminator has ADHD, and
Uh-huh.
he could be the greatest businessman going because he has one goal, one objective in mind,
Mhm.
and he's just going to keep on doing it and
Uh-huh.
going for it, and that's it. You're either going to kill him or he's going to accomplish it.
Uh-huh.
And it kind of just equates to me that's what can happen if you can control it. So by reducing inflammation, ensuring that you have the proper neurotransmitters in the brain that are absorbable and active
Mhm.
and working properly for you, you can be the Terminator instead of the guy who's struggling in life and just can't get his act together despite his best efforts.
Huh. I'm going to use that because that is absolutely perfect. And that is what we do as entrepreneurs is that just bullheadedness. I am hitting my goal come hell or high water, no matter what, it's happening.
Yep.
Yeah. And that hyper focus is one of our strengths. Like ADHD folks can get very hyper focused on one thing and go way down a bunch of rabbit holes. And I think that's
Mhm.
the strength. So balancing that out with some of the negative effects really helps. So we're getting towards the end of things. I do want to give you a chance to talk about Fitcoin,
All right.
your crypto.
So Fitcoin is our latest adaptation to the health and fitness industry.
Hmm.
Crypto is becoming more and more of a fad, a trend, but I think it's here to stay. I mean, the devaluation of every currency, they're just going out, and I see world governments having warehouses upon warehouses of mining equipment in order to sustain the future.
Mhm.
So in my own personal portfolio, I started realizing, what if I made a token that rewards people a little bit of money every
Mhm.
single month, daily, they'll see it
Mhm.
for living that lifestyle. Can I change and facilitate people by motivating them?
Hmm.
So the idea is the first version, you're going to be wearing a regular Fitbit. Second, you'll be able to do the Apple Watch, the Garmin, pick a wearable, and it will work with it. It's going to hook up to your wallet, and the standards that I set are all set as basic fitness by the American College of Sports Medicine to where you can't cheat the system. You
Nice.
can't just tell me how many repetitions that you're doing. I'm not going to believe it. It's got to be something that matches up in the watch without putting the watch on a dog all night and having the dog run around the backyard.
Yep.
So it's got to sync up for you. And so what's going to happen is hopefully over time, people will start to make these healthy changes a habit. Having so many hours per week of movement, just general moderate activity, getting your heart rate to be a average between 60 to 90, having your breaths be, 10 to 12 breaths per minute, as opposed to somebody that is laboring all the time, just showing that your health is coming forth. And hopefully you'll be able to earn up to the equivalent of $300 of US dollars in fit tokens per month, to which do whatever you want with them. The toughest part, which we're working with, is a lot of different companies to accept them. How about buying your Fitbit with fit tokens? How about going to the store and being able to use fit tokens for a purchase? If you want to swap them to US dollars, feel free. If you want to just hold on to them and watch the price of the currency go up, even better. You can use it as, I won't say an investment module, but a cool way to, how do I get around the SEC on that one? Way to feel good about yourself over time.
There you go. To build the amount of Bitcoin you have.
Exactly. And really have a community movement coming together, as I've seen with Peloton and a little bit with Tonal, of a lot of individuals doing the same thing, working for the same thing. And that thing is just basically being a kid again. Living a lifestyle that is active and incorporating that into what you've become over time because of the inability to adapt and balance the rest of your life.
Exactly. And, we have health savings accounts now anyway. This sounds like something that's similar to that too. It is on a really high level. Kind of sounds like something it would be, so a few $100 a month, but that $100 can be used to something else in your health journey. So I wanted to make sure you had a chance to chat about that, and because I think it's something that's really novel, and I love the idea. I love anything that disrupts anything else, especially the health industry, which is why I like chiropractic, why I'm in biohacking, and this just seemed like something that went right along with it.
Absolutely. So, get fixed.
Perfect. So we're getting towards the end of the show here, and I do have one question that I ask everyone, and that is one book or podcast that has had a major impact on your life.
I read that question the other day, and it just both hit me at the same time, but I think it has the exact same meaning. So when I was younger, I read The Old Man and the Sea by Hemingway, and to this day, it's still my favorite book. And within the past year, I started listening to a lot of Dan Pena. If people aren't familiar with Dan Pena, just look him up. Everyone's going to think he's a rude, crude Mr. Burns from The Simpsons old man who calls everyone a piece of trash. Really, the lesson both of them come down to is you have a goal and objective. And as Nike says, just do it. Dan Pena says all the time, if you're coming to my seminars, you're wasting your money. You don't need me to show you how to do anything. You don't need these self-help gurus. The truly successful people in life, and he means financial success, business success, is to stop going to school, stop reading all the books, just go out there and do what you need to do. If you need money, go get money. It doesn't matter what you need to do for it. Just go and do it. Stop complaining. Stop saying it's too hard, because that's wasting your time. And with The Old Man in the Sea, what happened? He had this goal. He needed to bring home this large marlin. And he was overcoming all adversity, being drug out to sea, and he eventually got it. I mean, it was eaten by sharks and killer whales on the way back, but it was just that struggle, because we all go through that struggle. And when Dan says, just do it, listen, I will struggle certain days more than others. Is cold and calculated as to try to be. It sounds crazy. Unfortunately, I'm not a sociopath, so I do feel rejection and pain. I am human like that. And after so many rejections, it's crap. Okay, but I need a goal. Let me twist it in a different way and go and hit that goal. So both of them just kept resonating with me of go and do it no matter what. Why are you thinking about doing it right now? You should be doing it.
True. And I think that's something that a lot of us get stuck in, all that analysis paralysis, or, oh, the time's not right. Oh, we can't do this. There's a ton of excuses. And you're going to suck at it that first time, period. It's going to happen,
Oh, yeah.
but you did it.
Yep.
Already way ahead of what most people do. Because you did it, right?
Exactly.
So, Jim, thank you so much for being on the show today. I really appreciate having you here.
Oh, man, this has been fun. I appreciate being here, Andrew.
Anytime. Thanks for joining us on the Hustle and Grind podcast. If you would like to learn more about Jim, check out the link in the description.